Welcome to Roll for Crit. This is our board game news roundup for the week of March 19th, 2018. Lots of stories coming out of GAMA this week. Plus, it's the week of Will's birthday.
Yay!
So for your birthday, we got you some fun news stories.
Indeed.
And you're going to give yourself the first one right now.
We're going to start off with WizKids. They announced a bunch of games at the GAMA thing. The first one we're going to talk about is SEAL Team Flicks. This is a game based on that sort of modern siege military game, sort of like Rainbow Six and stuff, where it's actually a dexterity game with urban environments where there's both a solo and cooperative campaign mode. We also have Doppelganger. This is from Robert Burke. It is a fantasy game with some hidden roles involving, if you haven't guessed from the title, doppelgangers, evil ones to be precise. Though, who is the evil one? Is a doppelganger actually different, or is that just... Does it depend on your universe?
Yeah, it depends on your perception of, I don't know, is there always an evil twin? I think yes.
There is also Spy Tricks. This is a trick-taking game where you'll have documents and with numbers on them or other facts and trying to sort of collect tricks, but you're all spies and simple game like that. The big one, though, was their Magic the Gathering board game. This is the third board game to come from the Magic the Gathering series in recent years, though this one's coming from WizKids. This one is called Heroes of Dominaria. It's based on the plane, actually the most popular, well-known plane. It's where most of the original Magic sets took place from because their anniversary is coming up, and the Magic set, Dominaria, is coming out, so they made a game about it. You'll be able to visit some of the very old but important locations, such as Llanowar and Urbog, if I'm pronouncing those correctly. You will be playing as some of the fellow heroes and go through some of their stories. There'll actually be two different sets, a basic and a premium one, with the premium coming with painted minis. Now, if you've seen the first game they released, Arena of the Planeswalkers, which is now something else, the minis were, they weren't that good. The paint-wise, I mean.
Yeah.
Not the looks. These, from what I've seen in pictures, look a lot more like what you'd see maybe like the D&D Attack Wing or the X-Wing, like very nicely painted. So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's always nice. I mean, I expect that this will be something like their Dungeons and Dragons board games from WizKids, where it's like a big old box. And
well, it looks like it.
Real pretty.
It is 2 to 4, and it says Euro game, so my guess is that means Dungeon Crawler.
Yeah, that sounds probably true.
This is a really cool plane, and once again, I do think like Magic has gotten to that point where they can get out of the box. We actually have finally got to mess around a little bit with the first one. Not
Arena of the Planeswalkers.
Arena of the Planeswalkers, not the Explorers of Ixalan, which is sort of more of a hybrid board game because it actually uses Magic cards in it. And I will say that one is not as
But we got a new company, a new lease on life, perhaps for the license. So hopes. There are hopes. I think
I mean,
good reason to be excited.
Could be really cool. Once again, I'm just hoping that they do some more RPG books. Like, some nice hardcover RPG books.
Yeah, spread that Magic love around. Cryptozoic also made an appearance at GAMA, and they had a whole host of new titles, some that we've already talked about on recent news roundups, the usual slate that they have, the new DC games, new Rick and Morty games, Epic Spell Wars, and on and on. They also got some pretty strange new versions of old titles like DC Spyfall, which is the party game Spyfall, but in this one the spy is the Joker, trying to figure out where all the other superheroes are, whether you're in the Batcave or the Fortress of Solitude or one of those such places. And there's also a mode where there's a Joker and a Harley Quinn, so there's some interesting stuff going on there. And then there's a party game they've got called Pantone, which sounds cool, where you have to get other players to guess the names of characters, fictional characters from different places of media. But the way you're doing that is only through colors. So you have cards with different swatches of colors. And for instance, I don't know, maybe SpongeBob, you're trying to get them to guess. You would take a yellow card and a brown card and try to position them in a way to get people to understand who that is. And that sounded like a really kind of funny party game that makes your brain work in a weird, warped kind of a way. That seems like it would be up your alley if you like games like Concept, that kind of a thing. So it's a fun array of from party games to the heavier games. But DC Spyfall definitely sounds interesting.
It is curious because I was thinking like Marvel, I can see someone who would make sense as the spy, the chameleon, you know, someone who actually has tried to fit in, you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a DC villain off the top of my head, and definitely not the Joker. He sort of makes sure he's known, you know. But you know, it's just trying to fit in.
The Joker just being sneaky.
We were talking about how this is probably a little easier, at least with our group, because we know there's a couple questions that pretty much ruined the spy. That I think the DC one might cover, like, what shoes are we wearing? My uniform.
Like, yes, if you've seen our Spyfall video, you know that the shoe question, for some reason, is the downfall of me. I'm very bad at being the spy in that game, so I think maybe I would like that one more. Be like, look, we're superheroes. All right, I get it. I'll pretend to be Aquaman or something. We'll figure it out. Anyway, Cryptozoic. Cool.
Renegade Games is partnering with Frosted Games to bring a new series of games, it seems. The first one being Reykholt. It is a Rosenberg game, so you've already can guess that it's about farming. This takes place in Iceland, as maybe you can tell by the name, which we believe is actually a place in Iceland.
I believe that is true.
And is being the best farmer. Vegetable farmer, I believe, to actually be precise.
Yeah, get those veggies out there and get points as a result of that.
Oh, man. Nothing is great in board game like getting points.
Very important.
The other big announcement was a Power Rangers game. That's pretty much as much as we know. We know it's going to involve very iconic heroes, places, and villains. But it didn't really specify whether it was the movie Power Rangers, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, whether it's going to span over the multiple series.
Yes, and I believe they're actually planned for multiple games, but I don't know. Yeah, like you said, we don't know where it's going to come from, what it's going to be. Renegade Games, they have a really good track record, in my opinion. They put out a lot of games, and most of the ones we've played we really like. So,
I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I know the two things I found sort of curious is I know there's currently, I think it's still going on. Like they started an RPG Power Rangers, like it's on Twitch streaming where they actually like are visiting other world, like Ranger worlds and stuff.
That's cool.
So I'm wondering if that's going to be involved with it.
Well,
it's a fan made team, and also I think they're finally adapting because they sort of been jumping Rangers series, the Japanese one, and the one they're taking now is actually a Japanese one that's sort of an homage, like. In the Japanese one, they actually go, let's morph. Like, they do it's more like sort of an homage to us or something, I heard.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, it's very curious to see where it goes.
Well, I know, we know Renegade is working on their first RPG, so maybe that's something they'll take and do for this. And I think Scott Pilgrim is the only other license that they've done that I can think of.
Off the top of my head.
So, and that was fairly well received, so it should be cool to see where they go with this.
I mean, people seem to be actually crossing off my copyright list.
That's right.
Maybe not in the way I wanted to, but it's going out.
ZMan Games has announced they will be bringing us a brand new line of games based on the classic Choose Your Own Adventure books. These are those books where you could read them and pick which page you want to go to. You remember. Well, they are coming out with games specifically based on actual books from those series. The first one that's announced is House of Danger from the year 1982. Not one that I'm familiar with from when I was a youth, but the summary has me intrigued. It has to do with an old prison on the site of a Civil War battleground, and it involves spirits and baboon creatures. You're a young detective and you have to go in there and figure it out. We don't have a lot of details about how the game will actually play, but of course Z-Man brought us Tales of the Arabian Nights, which is very Choose Your Own Adventure-esque. I think this is going to be probably a much lighter, more casual version of that to fit with this more mainstream theme. But I don't know, I'm sure you read those books, right?
My question is, because there are plenty of Choose Your Own Adventures from different publishers. Like, I know the big one I remember as a kid, like the big one that always was a Goosebump one.
Well, there is a specific
that's why I wasn't sure.
The original was called Choose Your Own Adventure.
That's why I wanted to make sure if you meant
it has you would know it if you saw like
I know I would, cover. But I always remember that one. Yeah. But I mean, isn't that why we play a lot of games in general? Is give us more of the what's the word? The ability to choose. Agency. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And this was like for a lot of people, they're really their first forte into that.
Yeah.
I think it could be really cool. I don't remember all the stories. Some probably better than others.
Yeah, I had an Aladdin.
I wonder if it's going to be almost like, I think like Sherlock Holmes kind of deal. But like instead of having a bunch of cases of one thing, it's more like an escape room, but where you get the box and that's that story.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they're almost a little late to this party because, like you said, we kind of have a lot of these games, Arabian Nights, Sherlock Holmes, Time Stories, even Seventh Continent. We've kind of adopted this into a lot of our games now. I think they're trying to, it sounds like I think they're going to take that and use it for the more casual market.
Yeah, no, I still think it could be viable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't think. It's the closest thing I can think off the top of my head is Time Stories. But it sounds like, unlike Time Stories, where I feel like you want to have it all go through, this feels like it could be just like, I'd pick this set because this sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, part of the fun of those games was you would replay it, or books, I should say, you would replay it a bunch and just choose a different path and see what happens. So I don't know how gamey they'll make it or how closely they'll stick to just making it a book.
We can't wait to die on our first choice. Project Ray Gun and USAopoly had a couple announcements as well. First one being Court of the Dead, Mourner's Call. This is based on a comic and toy line property where you'll be in the underworld and you'll have to both work together and play against each other in order to appease both the overbearing angelic overlords and try to get the underworld ready for rebellion. The other one is another big property that was on our list of properties that should be made into games, Samurai Jack Back to the Past. This is based on the 5th season, the final one, where you'll be playing as Jack and his allies and trying to kill and defeat enemies in order to earn honor. And of course, there'll be a final showdown with Aku and maybe some other familiar foes. We are big fans of this, as this was on your list. I think mine too, but definitely one we both agree on would make it a great game.
Yeah.
Though we thought it would be a 1v like Jack versus Aku.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I first read the description, I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. It's odd to me that it's only the 5th season, and then they were like, you can play as 6 characters, and I was like, who else is in the show? And it's like the...
All right, hold on, let me guess.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Jack.
Yeah.
We got, I forget her name.
I know, Ashi.
Ashi. The
Scotsman.
The Scotsman.
Yes.
All right, now this is where it's going to get hard for me. His daughter?
No. Scotsman's daughter?
Yeah.
No. Which one? He has like 12.
Well, there's one, I think, that he was always with him. Like, I think actually got named. Actually, I think he named like all of them at one scene. Okay.
Just give up.
I give up. Yeah, no, but
This is bad. The talking dog professor.
That's from the professor.
The monkey that teaches him how to jump.
Right.
In that one episode. I forget who the other one is, but it's like these, side characters,
right.
which is kind of funny. But I also am a little confused because it sounds like it's competitive.
No, that's what it sounds like you're competing to have the most honor,
which seems against the spirit of the show. Why would you be competing? It should be a co-op game. But Project Ray Gun has done some cool stuff. We really like the thing, so I have a little bit of faith in them, and also just the figures and the art. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean the fact that they're doing a Samurai Jack game, at least they're trying.
I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Roll for Crit News. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave some comments down below.
Yeah.